When police examined the scene, they quickly realized that this was no suicide and that foul play was involved. They told Ellie's parents that they were investigating a murder, before telling them that the killer was often someone known to the victim. They then asked her parents if they knew of anyone who would hurt Ellie, and the only name they could come up with was that of Thomas Griffiths. Police went to Thomas's house to question him about Ellie Gold. They immediately noticed the fresh scratch marks on his face. Thomas denied having anything to do with Ellie's murder, but police knew that there was more to the story. They took a look at his family's Wi-Fi router settings and realized that Thomas's phone disconnected from the home's Wi-Fi network shortly after he arrived home from school that morning. His phone remained disconnected from the network for a few hours, before it reconnected after 12 p.m. They suspected that this was the time that Ellie was murdered, so they looked at surveillance footage of the area around Ellie's home. At 11:56, CCTV from a passing bus caught a silver Ford Fiesta leaving the area where Ellie lived. The vehicle registration number was pretty clear on the footage, and police were able to trace it back to the vehicle belonging to the Griffiths family. With no other member of the family being home during that time, it was clear that it could only have been Thomas behind the wheel. Thomas Griffiths, however, continued to deny his involvement in the murder and denied being at the scene of the crime. Police then took a second look at the family's Wi-Fi router and realized that Thomas's phone connected to the home network after 12 p.m. before disconnecting for an 18-minute period. Police then looked at the area surrounding Thomas's house and realized that there was a wooded area nearby. So police walked out of his front door and timed themselves walking for exactly 9 minutes towards the wooded area. As soon as they hit the 9-minute mark, they stopped and started looking around. They very quickly found a black bin liner, and inside they found blood-stained napkins, cloths, and towels, which would later be confirmed to contain Ellie's DNA. A search of Thomas's room also produced a pair of black sneakers found to contain Ellie's blood on them. With the evidence stacked against Thomas, he was arrested and charged with the murder of Ellie Gold. In August 2019, Thomas Griffiths informed the court that he intended to plead guilty to murder. He told the court that he went to Ellie's home on the morning of May 2, 2019. He said that an argument broke out and that he blacked out after that, and that he couldn't remember what happened next. The state pointed out that although blind rage can make you forget things, in their opinion, it was clear that Thomas had planned everything carefully. He left school and went to change clothes first. He cleaned up the scene and tried to make it look like a suicide. He texted Ellie's friend to ensure that she wasn't found, and he even tried to dispose of the evidence and create an alibi for himself. In November 2019, the Bristol Crown Court sentenced Thomas Griffiths to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 12 years. The court mentioned his age as a mitigating circumstance, as the law in Britain doesn't allow for whole life terms for offenders under the age of 18. The court also said that due to the fact that Thomas didn't bring a weapon to the scene, and instead made use of a knife from the Gold household, they weren't convinced that it was premeditated murder. Thomas Griffiths will become eligible for parole in 2031. He will be 29 years old.